The Rooster Gang's territory was north of Widow Drive, all the way from Providence Road to the east of North Ridge Circle, and it ended at the closed-down shoe factory on the west side. They were out all the time, picking at seeds and bugs, wandering around. They could pop up anywhere at any time. They were roaming the streets, parks, and wooded areas, even at night. The locals loved seeing them around, the happy little group of colorful roosters. 7 of them, to be exact. They had something that felt like brotherly bond, and when people saw them around, one couldn't help but think that these roosters were really cool. Big Andy had been in love with Cecilia for over 4 months. He worked at Mattie's Bar and Grill on Ferry Street, and so did Cecilia. She was 19, and she was the most beautiful girl Andy had ever seen. She was also a freshman at the college and used words Andy had never heard before. But most of all, she was nice to Andy. The other servers usually didn't even acknowledge him unless they needed something, but Cecilia was different. Her smile was different. It was sincere. Andy had worked at the restaurant for a couple of years. He was a cook, a big guy with a full beard. He barely fit behind the stoves. But he was quiet and a good cook, so most of the other cooks liked him. Besides work, he didn't have much going on in his life. He didn't have any friends, and he had only had one real girlfriend before for a few months. Women just didn't seem to be interested in him, and he had no idea how to approach them. One time, he decided that he was going to hire a prostitute. He got on his bike to ride around town to look for one, but he had no idea where to find them. Eventually he gave up and went home to play video games and eat an entire tub of ice cream. But everything changed when Cecilia started working at the restaurant. Andy couldn't wait to see her every day. When she had the night off, it was torture for Andy. When he was supposed to be off, he picked up extra shifts just so he could see her. The past week, Andy noticed a change. Cecilia was quieter. She still said hi, but didn't stay to chat for a couple of minutes like before. The worry was killing him. He also noticed that Cecilia was walking home the past couple of nights instead of getting a ride from her boyfriend. It was a quiet Friday evening at the restaurant because of a festival in town that everybody went to. Andy and Cecilia happened to finish their shifts at the same time, which had never happened before. As Andy saw her at the time clock, his heart almost jumped out of his chest. "Hey, Andy," said Cecilia. "Finishing too?" He couldn't squeeze out a yes, so he just nodded. He felt lightheaded, and he was sweating like crazy. "Well, see you tomorrow," said Cecilia as she left out the door. He just nodded again, walked outside, and just stood there for a moment. He felt like an opportunity was slipping away. He saw Cecilia have a brief conversation with another server just a bit down the street. When they parted, Andy followed Cecilia. Halfway down the street, Cecilia must have sensed something and turned around. She looked concerned. Now or never, thought Andy. He smiled and he walked towards her. She seemed relieved. "Oh, hi, Andy." "Hi, Cecilia. Do you want to walk together?" Cecilia shrugged her shoulders. "Sure, but don't you live in the other direction?" "No." A moment of silence. "I mean, not tonight. I mean," he was sweating harder than ever, "I'm going to a friend's." "Okay." They started walking together. This part of the street was running by a small park with tall trees and a lot of bushes. "So, how was tonight?" Cecilia asked. "Good," Andy said. His thoughts were all over the place. They walked for a bit without a word. Andy finally pulled himself together. "Cecilia," he started, but almost had a panic attack. "Yeah?" He changed his mind. How have you been? I mean, is everything okay with you?" Cecilia looked sad. She hesitated for a moment. "Well, I just went through a breakup." "What an idiot!" "What?" Andy got a little too excited. "Your boyfriend. He's an idiot if he just lets you go like that." Cecilia smiles. "Thanks. That's very nice of you." "I mean, I would do anything in the world if I had you." Cecilia just smiled. Andy stopped. "Now or never." "I'm serious. I would treat you like a princess. You're so beautiful and so smart." "Thank you." Deep breath. He felt like he was in the vacuum of space. "Cecilia, I love you. Be my girlfriend." The smile froze on Cecilia's face. "Andy," she was struggling to get the words out, "you are a wonderful guy, but I only like you as a friend." Friend. The word hit Andy like a rock. "But you've been so nice to me." "Andy, that doesn't mean that I'm interested in you like that. I try to be nice to everybody. That's how I was raised. And I do think you're a great guy. I'm just not interested." "Sorry." Andy felt dizzy. He almost fell. "So that's it then?" Cecilia tried to keep him standing. It was hard. Andy weighed almost 300 pounds. "We can still be friends. We can still talk at work." The anger came out of nowhere. "Stop saying that word!" He grabbed Cecilia. She shrieked. "Not friends! Never friends! I love you. Don't you get it?" He forced Cecilia to the ground. She tried to scream, but Andy's large hand completely covered her mouth and nose. "And you are going to love me back." Cecilia had no chance. She couldn't fight him off. She couldn't even breathe. She slowly started passing out as Andy was kissing her neck. Then rustling sounds came from the bushes and trees. Andy stopped and stood up, still holding the halfway passed out girl. The gang of roosters were standing in the street. They weren't doing anything, just standing there, staring at him with their heads tilted. "What do you stupid birds want?" Andy hollered. "Shoo! Get out of here!" But they weren't going anywhere. Quite the opposite. They started walking towards Andy. He dropped the girl on the ground. "Shoo! Get away!" Andy picked up a branch and tried to chase them away with no success. They attacked. They grabbed Andy, lifted him in the air, and dragged him into the bushes like he weighed nothing. Then there was a scream. Then sounds of struggle. Then nothing. Just silence. No one ever saw Big Andy again. Someone found the passed-out Cecilia and called for help. She didn't remember anything. She thought she had just fallen and hit her head. At the restaurant, nobody knew what could have happened to Andy. They tried to call him. Someone even went to his house, but there was no sign of him. They ended up hiring a new cook a few days later. The area between Widow Drive, North Ridge Circle, Providence Road, and the old shoe factory was a quiet and safe neighborhood. The police never had to go there. Really, it was the best area in town to raise a family.